Okay, so just to get back to this whole, like, we're in the ResDoc CLI, and our idea is to not use ODoc. I just realized. What's going on today? So we are not going to use OCamelDoc or ODoc or whatever, because we want to go the more direct route. We don't want to like go like through this whole spiel of generating like compiler bundles of each module and remember all the relationships between the modules. We don't want to create documentation for the whole switch of your OCaml switch because we don't use OPAM. And we also want to be able to generate JSON and markdown data. And we also don't want to take the OCamelDoc format for the doc strings. I think there's a certain benefit of keeping it simple and just use markdown syntax in the comments. And for instance, right now how it is today, we're using these OCamelDoc annotations or decorators. And in there's a string, and then there is like a OCamelDoc string right now, because I didn't formally define a format yet. It's kind of a mix of OCamelDoc and Markdown here. It's actually not correct. This should be backticks, for instance. And here we are using the backticks again. So this OCamelDoc thing will go away. We will probably, I don't know, we will change it to a ReScript specific identifier.
Yeah, or like maybe a special comment syntax or something, or well, we'll see in the future.
Yeah. So there was a plan that we are we are implementing this in the parser as well. And I mean this we have talked about it a little bit, like this approach of annotating certain elements in the AST with decorators or with attributes is kind of okayish, but it would be much better if comments would be part of the AST, because it would help us a little bit better with like how to print the comments correctly back, and I guess it's also a little bit more. It's a first class thing which could be part of the AST. That's what I meant.
And it's also like difficult to extract information if you have a bunch of comments which are like completely separate from the AST. How are you gonna like link one comment to a lead binding, for example?
Mm-hmm. Right. And it's also like when you're having these attributes right there, like OCamelDoc is an attribute. It's the same kind of attribute we would see with BS scope, for instance. So if it would go and pretty print like this value external make, it would also pretty print again the OCamelDoc attribute with it, which is weird because we need to strip this information for our doc generation part. We actually implemented this attribute, drop doc attributes right there. So we get a signature item, and we filter all the doc attributes out of there, because otherwise they will show up in our JSON data, and we don't want this because we already extracted it, right? So
yes.
It like from a data perspective, it would make a lot of sense if we had like our own version of the AST with comments. But yeah, we take it as it is right now, and for now we have this parse tree, like the OCaml parse tree. And I need to check my goals list. So we've got a simple binary, check. Parse the documentation headers, kind of check. Put it in some structure, also check. Output that stuff in JSON, yeah, we do that already. So So let's go here. We run our binary with resdoc, and we provide an interface file here. We'll get JSON data out there. So we have like our file name in there, and we have items with kind, docstring, whatever, and we map that to some tagged union here for the JavaScript world. Doc variant, doc value, doc type, doc text, and yeah, and if we check out, what is the file called again? foo.rec. So we're in here, and
Is it only gonna be for interface files or also for?
Yeah, that's the point. We also need to do this for implementation
normal
files.
files.
Yeah, but I think this shouldn't be too hard because like we can use the same. Can we use the same logic? No, we can't. We need to re-implement this because it's a different type, right?
Yeah, it's a different type, but the logic is gonna be very similar. Like instead of p-sick, it's gonna be like p.
What is the equivalent for that? P imper? No, p
structure.
P val? No.
Or pstr. P structure.
Oh yeah, pstr.
Yeah, pstr.
Yeah. So right now, what we're doing is we're parsing interface files, and the entry point for that is also very simple. We have like an extract file name, and we provide the file name path, and in there we have our syntax logic. So the syntax itself has some engine, the parsing engine here, and we will also check, like we use extension file name to see if it's like an MLI or a ReSI file. And if it's like that, we wait. We're setting parsing engine. Yeah, I mean, this is weird because like it doesn't matter what we're not supporting anything else right now, but ultimately we would branch out and use the backend. If it's like an MLI or ReSI file, we would use parse interface, and if it's like an ML file or a res file, we would use parse implementation. So these are like the two bigger kind of modules you find in like the OCaml syntax. And yeah, and I think we already got quite a lot. So my goal is actually, it's not to replace ODoc or whatever right away, because for me it's currently more important to generate the data for the ReScript Lang website, so that we can automate the documentation extraction. Yeah, that's my number one thing. That's why I also put in some doc stuff here. So for instance, we have hashmap MLI, and yeah, in there we also documenting like modules or whatever. We also can extract documentation from a module. So if you have a module with this kind of annotation, it already extracts it. I think we can also do this for abstract types. This also works. We also saw that here. It's a doc type, signature type T, and this is some abstract data describing foo. We, like in a parse tree, it's separated between an abstract type and a record type and a variant type or whatever, but we generalize it into just one single structure called doc type.
One type.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have doc module, and the problem is that we are not extracting some stuff from here. So if this is like a submodule type T, within the Twitch module, then we can make this whole thing. Then we run it. And I'm quite surprised that this is now actually parsed. Now I'm honestly surprised. because
How are you? Are you recursing down the whole thing?
yeah, that's the question. I don't do that. I didn't recurse. I'm pretty sure. Like so I'm extracting talk, and then we have some psig modules somewhere, right? And
psig module, yes.
And we create our doc module from that. And we don't have any items. Like my idea was to signify the items within this module and extract them with a recursive function call. But for some reason it's already parsed. So I wonder what's this about.
Which is impossible.
I don't know. Nothing is impossible in the wonders of OCaml. Right. How does this work? Because we are getting we are parsing the interface. We get a parse result, and this contains the parse tree. And if I go into a psig module, we get a module declaration. And within there...
Yeah, module declaration, indeed. And then you have to go down into the declaration.
Then we go into the module type, then we find a module description, and we have some attributes. And the module description does have another
layer, which might be... Yeah, then you're going again in signature.
And then we are in a signature item list. So that's what, yeah, and we are not actually going into the signature item list right now. We are essentially extract signature and doc string from a signature item, pmd attributes. And this function doesn't do any recursion as far as I know.
Yeah, it just goes through the attributes. Can you show me the file again?
Does this do the thing what I think it does? Is this really attached to the type T here?
That's a very good question.
Because if I'm creating like a
you can, for debugging purposes, you can, if you have the ReScript CLI, you can print a parse tree.
Yeah. This is lib.
Yeah, lib ReScript
.exe and
then it's
print
dash
AST.
print. Yeah. There's a syntax error. Yes. The your CLI doesn't. That needs to be a colon on line 43. If you're inside an interface file.
Oh no! Yeah, this is such a common mistake.
Yeah, we should. I'm gonna fix this in the parser. Yes. This is an easy one. Just throw a nice error message. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, because like this is something which is problematic here because it looks so similar. Also, I'm not used to writing this. So this is
I
like an
wonder if we
int,
should.
int, and returns an int. Yeah, so now, okay. But what, what in the name, what was it now like printing? Why is it printing JSON then?
I have. If you can check it if you put the equal thing back.
Which one?
There's like an option in the CLI -recover, which is gonna like print the whole thing with even when there are errors.
Okay, so I'm
So-
adding back like a printing error or parsing error, and then I use recover, and I get
Yeah.
oh, and I get like holes in the
Yeah,
parse
and maybe instead of print AST, do something like print ReScript to have a better output, like a more readable thing. So AST should be ReScript.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so in this case, it doesn't know what to do here, so it places in.
So
a
yeah,
typo.
yeah, that's just a placeholder. We don't know what to do here, so there's
Mhm.
a placeholder. That's like a nice thing to the CLI.
Yeah, but nobody has access to that except the ones who are chosen.
Bloody all has a very good point. Maybe you should even parse the equal instead of the column. Yeah, I also thought about that.
Okay, but if I make this whole thing now again and then run restock. Yeah, so now it's it's not working, but it's working again. So we have doc module, and then but this is interesting. Like that this thing is pretty graceful. But it's also like a foot gun in some cases. In our case, it's not a problem because we're generating documentation and you can see if the documentation is weird. And it doesn't like run as a code, but yeah. Okay, so we have our doc item. Doc module. And within there we have the items thing. And now we need to call our extract doc thing here recursively, right?
Yes, recursively.
But the problem is here that this is kind of a reducer. It's receiving like an accumulator. And the first entry point of a signature item. And it returns me a doc item T list. So would it be a good idea to extract that into a separate function, because otherwise I need to pass in the accumulator again, which might not be correct.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Let's. You wanna
So
like
what we want is kind of like
extract items and then put it in items. Extract items from module declaration, or what's it called?
extract doc items from a signature item. Although here it's like a module declaration, and within there we have our module type, and within the module type we have the module type description. Oh wait. Module declaration. Then we have
Module declaration, which has
module type description.
type.
And in there we have, what is extension?
Extension is like something like the when you use the raw, the bs.raw.
Oh, right. Yeah, we don't need that. Module type with constraint list. Okay. a functor and a signature. And we need a not type of signature. Wow, signature is actually a list of, okay. Signature item list. So this is not a single signature item, this is automatically a list of signature items, right? So
yeah.
yes. So we are fine with this one. And it would return basically that stuff what's in there. Like this. And but it still needs to accumulate this stuff, right? And I wondered if like the accumulator should actually be an array.
The problem with an OCaml array is that the length is fixed. So you would need to know the
number of items I'm going to store.
Yeah, or implement your own JavaScript like array in OCaml.
Nah, that's too much. That's out of scope.
I actually have somewhere like a file that does that. If you want it, I can send it over.
Oh, yeah, I think it's too much for now. Or maybe I should just call it extract. Since we are going to iterate through each signature item, which is one signature item should correspond.
Maybe one question: if you iterate through all the signature items and you like recursively go down the tree, does it need to go back to the top level, or do you want nested doc information?
I'm so the only one which is kind of recursive is the doc module. This is like the only one, because we have like, so each signature item should be, wait, a signature item is not directly a signature item. Okay, and then yeah, we have psig value, psig type, psig whatever. Yeah, these are like equivalent. Psig value, psig type with a variant in there, psig type with just a type, and abstract and records. Then doc text for global documentation text, and then we have doc module, which has a list of doc items within this doc module.
Ah, yes.
And what we want is this extract. We have extract signature and doc item, extract doc items. And I guess we need the accumulator. I think we don't get around it, right? We need to accumulate, but it's fine.
Let's start without it maybe and just see where it goes.
Without an accumulator? Okay. So we have our signature item, we pattern match in that. If it's a psig attribute or whatever, we would return a new doc item, doc item.t. And since signature item is a list, so it has like item 1, item 2, or maybe type 1, val 1, module 1, etc. And therefore we need to return a list of doc type, doc value, doc module, and so on. That's the goal. So it would just
that's the
be
goal.
a map, right?
But wait, one
Or-
signature item has only one doc item, no?
But this is not one signature item. Oh, it is one signature item. I found
Here it
signature
is
item.
one.
Wait a second. PSIG module. Module declaration. And within there we have our module type. Then we have our module type description. And in the module type description we've got signature, PMTI signature. And this is a type signature. Okay.
So there you can just do list.map, extract doc from signature item.
So this would return basically
One,
doc item.t.
yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So it would be extract doc item here. And instead of egg, we would just return,
The one thing.
although it might have no doc items, so it must be a doc item option then.
That's
Or
a good point.
Otherwise we need to throw an exception, which we don't want, I think. So we would here return none, and here we would return some. Does this actually work? Or do I need to wrap it around with parentheses?
Here you have to wrap it with parentheses.
Nice.
And the OCaml syntax it's hell.
It's out of this world. I think I do it here
Yeah.
as well. Fold left. Okay, and then we have egg, and then we have items. And this is a PSIG value. And why am I like why am I creating lists, an items list here? Oh yeah, because like this is something I really hate in OCaml. Like if you want to you want to add one value to a list, I'm not sure if there's probably some utility function for that. But if you want to add an element to a list, you need to use the concat, for instance, and this one concats two lists together. So if you have like just one item, you need to wrap it. What is that?
If you have one item, there's like an operator, colon. So if you have example element colon items, yes.
Yeah. Like in the pattern matching thing.
Yes, that's the. Well, why is this items the list? Does a value like a let binding have multiple doc comments or?
Yeah, prepending then reversing at the end could be more efficient. No idea. I have no idea about the runtime characteristics in an OCaml program, to be honest. Also, I'm not sure if it would really make a sense like optimizing it right now.
I think we need Cristiano for that.
Oh man,
I don't know. Do you see the PRs on the syntax repository?
No.
He rewrote some recursive function to be like zero allocation, and it improved the allocation rate of the whole printer like by 30%, which is amazing.
What? Okay, wait.
And also, if you saw his improvements, then yeah, you really know those kind of improvements only come from like a lot of experience. You can't just like
Yeah.
look at code and say, I'm just gonna optimize this thing here.
Is it like an merged APR or is it just an open one?
Wait, it's no, it's closed. It's merged. It's a merged one.
Version of
So,
fits that does not allocate?
yeah, probably that one.
Yeah, Cristiano is out of this world.
Yeah.
I also
Indeed,
like
Cristiano reads Matrix
I
code.
also like his latest article. Like what he wrote is like and this is the most fantastic thing about Cristiano's work. Seriously. Whenever he does a change, it's like small. How does he do that?
I have no idea.
Oh god. It's also like in editor, so I need to show you that. Also in editor support. It's like I'm like JS arity should not be visible. Like whenever you're getting a type hint and you get this unboxed type arity 1 nobody cares about.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh god, this is probably like super complicated to implement. And I was like, oh, I made a mistake, blah blah. But I still think it would be good if the alias would be gone from the output. And he's like, okay, fixed it. Fixed it. Yeah, this is the change. It's like 5 lines of code. and then it's like, okay, this is why vertical integration is great. Because like if you try to put this change into Merlin or whatever, you need to write a thesis about it and then have like 5 or 6 code reviews with 5 PhDs, and then at some point, no, it's probably not that hard, but like we can just move independently, and he's like, okay, I fixed it in 5 lines. And it's fast. And it just works. That's the most important thing. Anyways, okay, go back to our actual problem. Yeah, that's a sad story behind most typed functional PLs. I don't know. I guess people are just really, really into tinkering with type systems and building complex abstract machinery, which is fine. It's like its own category of building, and we just want to get things done. That's why I'm literally re-implementing OCamlDoc. Or not, I'm not re-implementing OCamlDoc, but I'm basically creating our own version of doc extraction, which is a little bit simpler. We don't need cross-references in the beginning, we can upgrade that later. And I don't want to represent the whole OCaml ecosystem. Like, this is a very complicated topic, super complicated. Finding the right compile artifacts and finding the right dependencies and cross-linking between those is not trivial. I'm not even sure if this is like properly solvable. Okay, so we have our extract doc item, we return a some or none, and then we also like we also have more x here. Egg. Yes, this one. What do we do with this one? So this is like items, but it's actually probably just OCamlDoc. It should take the first one, right?
Yeah, probably. I still don't understand why there are more than one.
Well, we are mapping attributes, and attributes is a list.
Yeah, attributes is a list.
Yeah, this is a list of.
Can you do a list.find?
But I think we actually already wrote a function for that. Extract signature and doc strings from signature item and attributes, and it returns us a signature and doc strings. This is probably a bad wording. A signature string or something. a signature string and a doc string. So, and it's also like getting the first item already. So we will probably just take that. Like this is like the whole program was based off a script Bob wrote, like in an issue. He's like, this is how you extract attributes, and from there on I was just extending it, and now we are kind of getting to a point where we refactor it to our needs.
Yeah, it takes some time to get used to the whole parse tree structure. It's very arcane and esoteric. That's the word.
Yeah. I'd still like the idea of at some point having our own AST, which is compatible, which still is compatible. I mean, it doesn't like OCaml, we don't depend on making our AST 100% like OCaml AST, because we can convert back and forth anyways. And a lot of I mean, OCaml does convert between its own ASTs already. So I don't see a point why we couldn't have our own AST with like comments integrated or whatever at some point.
Yeah, I also thought about that, and to be honest, it was like when I started the syntax thing, it was my I wanted to do it, like that was the first thing I wanted to do, but I resisted doing it because
you get in one thing and then you get into the another thing and then you're not.
The conversion from reason was gonna be problematic, like not doable.
Yeah, that would be like twice and tries the work probably. But like imagine that we migrated most of our users from reason to ReScript. It would be like an internal change nobody would recognize, right?
Yes, indeed. It would actually, implementation-wise, solve so many issues.
Yeah. Because we could make it even more efficient, right?
Yes, indeed.
And we can also get rid of all these lists inside.
Yes.
And make it a little bit less allocation heavy. I don't know. Like there's many things we could. I mean, the parse tree is a pretty old thing, I guess. It's like super old. It's like probably the oldest part of the OCaml compiler. What am I trying to do here? I'm sitting here. Extract signature item. I'd be totally for that, although I'd need a way to tap into the AST to extract translations from my app efficiently. Yeah. I think from there on, like, as you can see, it's not that hard to traverse the tree anyways.
Yeah, it's not hard, it just takes like... It's just code that you have to write, and there's no easy way out. You just have to write it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are used to like, oh, I'm just installing an npm package and this package will solve all my problems. But this is different, because like in JavaScript everything is dynamic and it's based on a runtime. So like all the ASTs and everything are also just JavaScript. In OCaml it's not that way, because we need to compile to native and we don't expose any native facilities to the users yet.
I guess in a native world, it's also super weird to represent everything in the AST as a hash map or a immutable map or something. That would be, memory-wise, not a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, so we would extract signature doc string. And... Oh, by the way, JD, are you still there? Because I think you had troubles reading like color contrast thingies. So if you cannot read the code, let me know. I'm not sure if I can fix it, but I can at least make the font bigger. Also, I totally forgot to answer a message of yours. Sorry about that, I will respond at some point.
I'm reading in the chat, the hard part is synchronizing with syntax. What do you mean by the hard part is synchronizing?
Signature item attributes. We're gonna extract this, match with, and if it's like sum, then we get a signature and what was the second thing? I already forgot it again. And a doc string. Like this. And now I'm probably going to run into a syntax error because every time I do this, there is going to be some error.
Yeah, in the chat.
How Parsing synchronizing with peer syntax, tapping the same parser version as the one current ReScript install has when there's a breaking syntax change, which occurred quite often in the past years. Yeah, I mean, we will not do this when the syntax is still like evolving. At some point it's going to be quite stable, and all these...
Yeah, at some point, but before that it's gonna be difficult to orchestrate.
And that's also probably one of the reasons why we don't want people to write PPXs right now, because like PPXs are extremely hard to upgrade. And we just don't have the capacity to maintain that, and nobody else has the time to do that. And we have seen this like over and over again. Luckily we have Christoph Knittel, who has been working on making this like the Intel extraction thing work with the new syntax. He actually just cloned the syntax repo or made a sub module or something. I think you proposed it to him, right? So just to clone this into his own project and just use it like I do, like you just use it like this. And yeah, PPX being AST based, I find to be pretty stable over time. Yeah, but they're not even considered stable in the OCaml ecosystem, to be honest. You need to migrate between ASTs all the time. What am I trying to do here? I'm losing my mind. I have a PSIC value, right? And
you want to extract.
I want to get a doc value here, like this. This is what I want, and I don't want that, and I want to wrap this in parentheses because this is Lisp, obviously. And
OCaml is more Lisp than Lisp.
yeah, it's a Lisp language. Sorry if I'm sounding bashy, but it's how it is. So we have a doc string right there, and we have a name, pval name. Yeah, this is fine. And we have a signature, and this is the signature. This is fine as well. So this should work, I think. And if it's none,
none, then it's none.
And then we have a PSIC type. And within there, this is like tricky because I wanted to have the I think this is something, or I'm not sure if this is something, but I think OCaml doesn't consider, or OCaml doc doesn't consider annotated constructors. Like if you have foo.resi and you do this, I think this is not a thing in OCaml doc, isn't it? And this is something I wanted to kind of represent. So we have a doc variant, and the doc variant has a list of constructors here.
So, and you're saying that it's not a part of the constructor.
So what I think is that you cannot do this in OCaml. Like you write like color and then you do red and then you make a comment. This is whatever. And I don't think it will semantically like attach it to this constructor. And then it will not treat it differently. Like if I go to I mean, this is now this is like a bad example, but if I go to, I don't know, let's look for the list module, for instance. No, the list module is actually bad. What kind of module has variance? Exception? Location? No. And it would also be great if we could actually annotate the attributes in there. Like showing the type signature. And next to it, show log start, comment to the log start, log end, show comment to the log end.
The key of the thing.
What do you mean?
You want to show the log start as the you have a record has like multiple rows, and you want to show the key
I want
of
to
each row.
individually annotate each of these. And the same for variance, because so many times, and I've seen something actually, I'm not sure if this is a thing, but if I define red, or let's say, maybe let's call it type user, and a red admin, and then I wanted to have a string, right? What I've seen lately was this. Is this a thing? I'm not sure if this is part.
No, I don't know. This is not possible, I think. Unless you use an inline record or something, but normally you can't name the...
This is so useful. I wonder, are you using Vim? No, you're using Sublime, right?
No, I'm using Vim for all syntax development. I kinda set up Vim? Yes, I use Vim with Merlin. It took me days to figure it out, and just putting all that effort in, I don't want to switch because otherwise it would be wasted time.
Yeah. I was just wondering if I should, like, did you install my plugin?
Yes, for ReScript.
Cool. So maybe we should add some development commands so that we can, for instance, show this tree here in a buffer next to it.
Yes, sounds good.
Or maybe we can actually, can we? You could build so great stuff. Like what I've seen, like on another Twitch streamer's thing, he's working on some Lua stuff, like Lua plugins and stuff like that, and he used Tree Sitter to map to Lua and map the AST of Lua, and now he can basically like mark some code, run a Vim macro, then he sees like the tree of the Lua code in a side buffer highlighted.
Oh yeah, that's very cool.
It's kind of like this this online playground where you can...
Yeah, but in your editor, which is where you actually want it.
Yeah, I think we should, we will need this a lot. I would need this a lot whenever... I see myself, when we write PPX, like the React PPX, for instance, we need that a lot. And also for, syntax development. Maybe I should make some flags, some development flag, and point to some, to the syntax repo. Because I know the binary paths there, and then it's zero config as well. That's a good idea.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, because I always forget these commands here.
Yes,
Or at least we should write it
yeah,
down.
if you're not used to it.
Like a development cheat sheet. Okay. So what do I want to do now? I want to go to my ResDoc thing. Okay, so we had the doc. Yeah, okay, I got it. We got, yeah, we're here. So we have the doc variant thing, and we get the constructors out of there, and we get the doc string. And so we get the constructors, which is fine. We get these from the constructor declarations and the PCD attributes. But we also need to use extract signature and doc string, right? And signature item. It's actually really, really good that you're joining me today, because it's much more, yeah, it keeps me more focused when I'm having someone to talk to. So it's a signature item, and then we also need the attributes for this thing. And I'm not sure what the attributes of type declarations is. So we'd need to go to this one, type declaration.
What is a type declaration?
So type declaration is the body of a PSIC type. And if it's like a p-type kind of p-type variant,
Yes, yeah.
then we get constructor declarations. And p-type variant is a constructor declaration list. Oh, by the way, in pattern matching, maybe that's what I was thinking about. Maybe someone did, but I saw this and I was like, oh, what? Since when do we have labels? And I thought maybe we introduced some kind of like pseudo syntax, just to which gets dropped in the OCaml AST, but no. Constructor declaration. So
declaration.
And within there we have the PCD attributes. And PCD attributes, we've got them here within the constructors. And we have this thing here. We don't want. We want to use this extract docstring declaration thingy. Now we don't want that to use it here because a constructor doesn't have, like, we have the name already. And we have the docstring, which is like just this one line. So this is fine. And then we put this into this internal egg, and this is the constructors. What I'm missing right now, we have a declaration of p-type kind. Type kind.
Kind here, which is a variant or abstract or a record.
Yeah, so declaration is what we are at. The type declaration thing. And the type declaration has a p-type attributes thing. So what we want to do is we want to match on extract signature docstring and signature item and decal dot p-type attributes with, and if it's sum, we would do this whole jazz here. So it would be begin and end probably. Oh my god. Like I really
wait, you're
appreciate
gonna
braces here.
in on line 274. You will have to write either a parenthesis or a begin.
First of all, I need to have signature, and I already forgot what this thing returns. Docstring. What did you mean? Like after the arrow, I begin and then end?
Wait, line 274 before the match.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Or I wrap it in.
Yeah, parents. I don't know why, but you have.
Yeah, for some
to
reason it's ambiguous. So this one, doc variant, whatever, goes in here, and with the constructors, and the doc string would be the doc string. And doesn't it need a signature? See, I didn't even consider a signature in here for some reason. But it should be in there, I think. Or I can leave it out for now and just make it compile first, otherwise I will have too many like problems. So I cannot really reformat it, so I cannot even check if the whole thing is like well formed. Anyways.
What's the signature of a variant is? What do you mean by that?
So the signature string is essentially the signature is this, like the pure type definition. And if I'm having a doc variant, for instance, I want to have like type my variant equals yellow, blue, red. That would be the signature. Here I'm just extracting, like, I don't extract anything here for now.
I see.
Anyways, in here I have my constructors, and then I would return sum, doc item string, doc item variant, constructors, doc string, that's fine. And if it's none, oh see, it's like this. And if it's none, we return none. Good, I think. And then we go further with our egg thing. So if we are having a p-type abstract, we get the OCaml doc string from the attributes, we get the doc strings, and if it's like one doc string. That's interesting. Why did I do that again? So we get doc strings, and if doc strings, if there's like more than one. This is like this. Like this was my first attempt of doing first item, basically. If there's more than one doc string, I don't do anything. But it should be the first doc string. I'm not sure if we should convert this as well.
Yeah, we can refactor this at a later point.
Yeah. So instead of egg, I would return
just some or none again.
Or none. Otherwise here is also none. And I would get like a list of items. Right? Because either it's like... so it's either... Actually, it shouldn't be a list of items here. It should be one item. So you get one PSIC type. This one PSIC type can either be a variant or an abstract. And if it's
or a record in the future.
Yeah, record. I don't... Yeah, that's true. I didn't even... Okay. I should put this in my goals list. record. And nested modules content items. So yeah. So I should not return a list here. But I'm not returning a list here right now. So I'm returning either some or none. And here I'm also only returning none. But there is an egg. Why am I fold writing that? Because it's a type declaration.
Constructors are because you have multiple constructors and you probably want to extract one doc item per constructor. Or
so this is a type declaration.
Mm-hmm.
And the type declaration has a p-type kind. But why am I fold writing that?
Fold run.
This is like completely unnecessary. Yeah, you can really tell that I had no idea what I was doing a few weeks ago.
The type declaration you're fold writing on the...
I don't want that because like I'm passing in the type declarations. Wait, type declaration list. I don't understand this. So I've got a PSIC type. And it can be...
Wait, can you show me the AST? What is a PSIC type again?
So in the AST, like PSIC type...
a PSIC type has one...
It has a reg flag.
Yes, I know. The problem is that if you have a PSIC type, you can have recursive type declarations like type S equals string and type T equals int and...
Right.
Which is, it's like recursive let bindings, like you have let x is 1 and y is 2 and z is 3. And
so should we
which is
treat this differently then? Because right now we need to reduce it into a doc item T, and I don't see a way to, unless we relax it and return...
Let's maybe for simplicity start with what? Just list.heads or something, or just pick the first one.
Yeah. That's a good idea. So we will return, okay, we get the items. And then we will get list.head HD items. Is this the right way? Is this the way? Gets a list and returns A. Maybe represent it with a unique ID and in the end marked on links between mutually recursive types. Yeah, I'm not that far. They should have some unique ID at some point. So items is a doc item list. Why does HD return an A and not a... list.hd? Oh, what?
Yeah, it takes the first element of a list and raises an error.
Raises an error. Okay, is there like a safe version of it?
Indeed, when you have the unique ID for markdown links between mutually recursive types, yeah, that's probably gonna be advanced.
Yeah. Maybe I should use env-opt and...
You can also straight pattern match on the list of type declarations and pick the first one.
Yeah, I always forget that this is possible. So we take items with, and if it's like one item. No, wait.
It's our
item
The type
else,
declarations.
and then we return some item. Is it like this?
Yeah, indeed.
Otherwise, none. Oh god, I hope this compiles. And maybe I should just try and make it.
Yeah, there's probably gonna be 1,000
297.
errors here.
Yeah, I forgot the parentheses because this is Lisp. 267.
Yes, the between sum and doc type.
I am missing. Line 300. This variant expression is expected to have type doc item option. The constructor doesn't belong to the type option. Okay, so within here we... Oh. Fold right. Parse tree type declaration. Items, type declarations. Okay, so I shouldn't have... Oh, this was a bad mistake. I should have kept the egg. I think. Because I'm folding here. And...
Maybe we should temporarily remove the fold right and just trade... Do the match declaration of p-type kind on the first item of the type declarations. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I know what I mean, but I'm not sure if... It's a lot of work. The problem is formatting code in OCaml is just really inefficient in my ways.
Yes, and I don't know if you tried OCaml format, but it actually doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't help. It makes it even worse. I used OCaml format once and then never again because I was like, okay. No, I think what I will do for now is I will turn this back. I will just return egg here and
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And egg that back. $297. And within there we are going to do the same thing. Here we're doing a filter map. So it needs to return some none. So it returns, so it gets a value. Oh yeah, this is correct. So we have doc strings, which is a string list. And within here we are still using, okay, we're still using egg. So we need to, wow, sorry for this terrible code. I'm pretty sure this is not how you're supposed to write anything of this. Like when I look at Maxim's code, in the syntax code base, everything is so pristine and functional.
No, it's not. I don't know. Cheng did a huge refactor of the Lexer. And when I compared the before and the after, it's like my code was the worst garbage ever.
Oh, come on. That's why we have Cheng and Cristiano. They fix all our shit. I can't wait until like Chen was desperate when he talked about the React PPX.
Yeah, but the PPX is that's Yeah, it's a piece of code.
It's a piece of code.
It's almost impossible to follow what's going on.
Yeah, you need that tests and that like logic, like the pros and to explain what's going on. And then even if you know what this thing is supposed to do, it's just really hard to think in ASTs and convert ASTs. Especially it does some really tricky things like removing a warning attribute so it doesn't error out. So when people use the JSX APIs directly, they get a warning or an deprecation warning. And this is very clever, but also very tricky to maintain.
Yeah, it's very advanced.
Yeah. So I'm getting here some other error. I'm not sure why. So we have, oh yeah, because of course we use this. So we return some item. And otherwise none. And otherwise none. 305. What is it? What is it saying? OCaml is Lisp. I will tweet that later. OCaml is a Lisp variant. it's terrible. And also, what is also terrible is like this.
Yeah, it is.
Look at this. Look at this code. Ah, wonderful.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I've been writing OCaml almost daily for the last 4 years or something, and it just doesn't get better.
Oh, I just give us. I don't know. Like, I just don't want to write interface files. I think interface files are terrible in ergonomics. I just want to write my function like freaking TypeScript.
I know.
Just give me that. I take this over MLI files any day. So much better. And maybe, like if, like the whole problem with interface files, like they make things more efficient with the compilation. So if the compiler at some point decides to make everything private by default, that would be great. Like if you need to opt into public interface, which makes way more sense. Why would we even need interface files then? Because then the variant would be withheld, or the invariant would be withheld that the compiler can assume that this module hasn't changed, because I don't know, like the way it does is it doesn't know if a certain export value is being used in some code, and then it needs to recompile the whole thing.
I think Bob also like fixed this, and now he like generates interfaces and implementations in one path.
Okay.
I think if you just have like an implementation file and the compiler compiles it, it automatically generates like an interface file. But I might be terribly wrong.
Yeah, there must be a way, and I know that like Cheng was really into this idea of having no interface files, and it would be so great. Like, I don't know, it's like so far away from what other languages do, like modern languages.
Yeah, it's also when I want to document codes, I'm always confused that you have to write your documentation in like an interface file, and at a later point in time I go back and I want to read the documentation, and I just want to see it next to the implementation, and then I have to switch files. It's awkward. Yeah,
and it's also like jump to definition, right? So you want to, like, for instance, I've been browsing my like ReScriptlang.org, and we have been refactoring a ton of code, and I was like, okay, what does this JSX component do? And I press jump to definition, and it jumps to the signature file, which is terribly wrong, because I want to see the code. Yeah, and I think I will talk to Cristiano that we turn it around and always go to the implementation, because or at least have some option to jump to the definition in the implementation and jump to the definition in the signature and then opt into the implementation first, especially if it's a JSX component, because nobody reads we know the interface. We know the interface of a React component. We just want to see the implementation and jump to the HTML code. What does bloody else? If Hongo finds a way to compilation is efficient without without ReSi files, I'm all in. That's good. The PPX story is an issue for interface file generation at the moment. The PPX story is an issue for interface file generation at the moment. I'm not sure what this means, but particularly the React PPX, you get the external BSL.
Because if the interface file generation for a file with React code is gonna look very weird because of all the weird React transformation things.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, yeah, I mean, generating. I don't like the idea of generating the ReSi file. I mean, it's useful, but there shouldn't be any ReSi files to begin with. Like, this should be completely gone, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's probably not, it depends on the build system, right? Like, interface files are only there so the build system is fast. It would be so much easier because, like, looking at the files and then you have like 5 different files, like a JavaScript file. Like in this case, it's even worse, but this is what we want: CMI, CMT, CMTI. These are like all the build artifacts, and we also do that in ReScript code bases where we have like a res file, a ReSi file, and a JavaScript file in one place, and it kind of gets crowdy in here. And if we just had one file, like one res file, that would help. Anyways, so we are back to, so this compiled now, and there is like a warning, and because it's an error because of warning 27, we need to fix this warning first. 275. Unused variable signature. Fair enough. Bam. So now this compiles, but we didn't hook it up yet. So we have now this pristine, wonderful extract doc item thing. And we now need to combine that with our extract doc function, right? And
yeah, indeed.
yeah, so this is now all extracted. And what we need to do now is we need to I wish that nice editor integration. I have a filter map here, right? And it will filter all the options out there. You can really tell which function was written by Bob because it's like using snake case. So extract docs. So in here we would. I'm scared to delete this code. I will just comment it out. But we're getting there. Like in the beginning, it was a huge function. It was super complicated to read through and a lot of duplicated code. But now we're getting to a point where we factor it into manageable pieces. And at some point, I will also want to split it up in multiple files because it might be useful. I'm not sure how we should do this, like from an organization perspective, if it should stay in the syntax repo, if we should create a new repo out of it.
Well, let's just keep it there for a while until...
Yeah, until it outgrows its needs. But I think it would be quite isolated. I'm not sure what kind of...
Yeah, maybe like a separate thing in the future makes sense.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what prefix I should use if resdoc is fine, but we have res_doc already.
Oh, right. Yes. That's the...
Maybe just res_docgen or something. Res_docgen. I don't know.
Yeah, details.
I'll think about it later. Okay, so we now have a signature item. and extract doc XS. That is such a funny. Okay, so we actually get in a signature item list, and this is kind of confusing because it tells me it's a signature item, which is a single signature item, but it's not true. We're passing in. I think this is is this wrong behavior by Merlin? Because this is like a signature. No, we are folding left. Oh, that's why. Okay. We're folding left, so it gets an accumulator, and then...
Maybe it can also be like just a list of map or something here.
Do we even need this function anymore?
I don't think so. Because we just wrote our own thing.
I think we can use the thing we already wrote, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would be util dot fold util filter map extract signature extract doc item with an empty filter map starts with a list and returns a list. So you would put in XS, and I rename XS now because this is such a terrible name. Signature Does this compile? Will it compile? It compiled. To my surprise, it compiled. That's awesome. And then we will run it like this, and we will get wonderful doc string for the doc variant. This is how I link, blah blah blah. This looks fine. And doc module, and now we are getting to the point where we wanted to get. First of all, we fixed this because this was missing a doc string. This is nice. And now we want to get the items for doc module. And now this is possible because we can
just recurse down the tree.
Is it like this? Rec-let or let rec? Let rec. Or rec-let. No, it's rec. It's not a rec. Not a rec-let cheese. Extract doc item, and then within our Parsing module, we would return so we go back into our Parsing module thing. Parsing module, and we're getting close to our limit, like 8 PM. That was my goal. Maxim, if you want to stay longer, it's fine. If you want to leave, it's also fine. I just say usually I do an overtime of like half an hour maybe.
I'm still available, so
cool. Just trying to get this done. So we have the module type, and within there. Okay, so we need to. Okay, if it's a signature, yeah, we need to we need to get the signature out of there.
Yeah, I think we can ignore all the other stuff for now.
Yeah. Just thinking of, okay, we have PMD name, and then we have so module declaration. This is where we are. PMD attributes, PMD name, PMD attributes, PMD name, and then we have a
PMD declaration or something.
PMD type.
Or PMD type.
And within there we have a PMTY description. So
Maybe we should introduce like a helper function, extract doc items from module declaration.
This would actually be the function we have right now, right? First of all, we'll delete this one. Yeah, I mean, at some point we need to factor it out, and for each subconstruct we will create a separate function for that. But I think now what we need to do is we need to match on. So this.
Yeah, we can just do it in line for now. Yeah.
Yeah. So this would be like here we are creating a doc item, even though this is not correct. We create. Okay, see you, bloody all. By the way, we should probably talk about this ReScript React stuff you committed lately or pushed lately. Maybe let's have a separate call for that, because I had some things to discuss with like how we test and such. But see you around. Okay. So I'm a little bit confused what I did here, because like I'm extracting signature and docs for the signature item with PMD attributes, and if there's something in there, I will create a doc.
So I guess you want to fill the items inside the doc module.
No, I don't want to depend on if there's a signature on the module. So if I'm having my foo file, I need to go into this anyways, so I need to turn it inside out. What I need to do is I need to do let items and match on PMD type. Or I need to match on PMD type first, because I only care about
I
only care about the PMTY signature. And this is like the signature. There's not a lot of chatty people. There was Bloody, who was like super curious, but I wonder if there's more people actually in the chat right now. Oh, there are quite a few. But I guess they're just interested to see me fail.
Yeah, this is also quite specific code.
Yeah, it's super specific. By the way, if anyone has any questions that are unrelated to this topic, feel free to ask them, because it's a lot of fun talking with you about any ReScript topic. So we have like the PSIC value and the module declaration. So if it's a PMTY signature, a PMTY signature has a signature in there, and that's what we care about. And then we do this kind of specific logic here. So we would get the name and the whatever.
Wait, on line 306 you need it's PMD type dot PMTI description, I think.
PMD type and then match PMD type. What do you mean?
If you look at the type of PMD type,
module type. Oh yeah.
You need to access the description part of it. It has a module type and indeed the PMTI description.
So now we have the module type description, and the module type description has the signature in there. And within the PMTY signature, we get the signature out of there, and then we get the items out of there with our util.filter map extract doc item signature. And this is probably like the biggest appeal of functional programming, that you can do things like this as soon as you have entered the gauntlet and have endless hours of experience getting it to that format. But the way until there is so hard, like it's beating me up.
Yeah,
this is
to
like
be honest,
not achievable.
lately, I the appeal of functional programming, I don't know what is it.
I don't know. It's
I don't know.
I think it's kind of like code poetry in some way, that, you know, like nobody talks like a poetrist. Like I would not talk to you in poems all the time. Use just common language, right? Like a more practical approach, because I don't have to think about it too much, and it's like you understand it more easily. And for them, it's like, I'm writing a poem here in code. Like I make it so lean, I write it in 5 words, and it does everything I want, and there's less code to maintain, which is not true, because you need to I don't know, you need to understand what does filter map do, and then, okay, what is this? Is this now a value, or is this a function? Does this curry before, or does it not curry? Is this now, like, is this a curried thing? Like, is this like treated like that or otherwise? Because like in OCaml the rules are kind of ambiguous. As you can see with this match here, I need to wrap it in parentheses here, otherwise it will, I don't know, like doesn't know when the match expression ends. And this is, yeah. And also like the fun thing, and also like what else, like this, yeah, fun, like this is completely insane in my opinion. Some, none.
Yeah.
Let A, like this is, it's cute, but in the end it's gonna bite you. Like it's gonna bite you hard, and everyone who is reading your code is like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And I think
it's also not that your code is suddenly like a million times. I mean, it's not that you're gonna finish a program, or program, for example. It's not that you're gonna finish it in 10 times less time than with normal code.
Because we're writing less lines, therefore we must spend less time on thinking, right? No, this is not true. You actually spend way more time thinking about the right abstraction, because otherwise you're like ending up in this deeply nested code, which is very hard to maintain. Like editing is very hard. I don't like it at all. Like I don't see where my expressions start and where they end. And this is what's like one of the things I really like about ReScript. Not only that the curly braces help me scope this thing. I mean, you also get nested code anyways. But when you're writing code and you can like hit one button and it reformats it, this is like, it's actually a good aid for writing code. It's hard to express. Like if it's like my way of getting confidence that my code is actually correct in a syntactical way. And I cannot really do this here, because like I always have the feeling that the syntax is hung up on something because it's ambiguous, and then it aligns it. Like my only way to check if my scope is correct is like auto-indenting this thing, right? So if I do it like auto-indent, then I know, okay, this is probably parsed correctly, otherwise it would not indent it that way. If it's like this part is like indented more, then I would say, okay, maybe there's something wrong. But in ReScript there is no question. Like this is like the nicest thing about it. That's why I'm so thankful about what you do. So okay, so we have like the items now, which is a doc item list, and then we would extract this kind of stuff, and so the question is,
I think you're not passing the items to items a bit further.
We don't care about, we don't pass the items. What we want to do here is we want to just extract the doc string. So we this is like the only thing which I was just thinking what information is mandatory and what information is not. So it would be like this. So we have some doc item here, and then we have a doc string, and if the doc string is here, we return the doc string, right? And if it's not, we return empty string. And now I'm getting into the zone. It's always 2 hours until I get into the zone. There is no way around it. So now we have this. It's such a pity. I think I will do a Sunday stream as well, because every time I wait too long, I forget half of the information again. So now we have a syntax error on line 311. What did I do wrong here? Is probably one parenthesis too much. And I also forgot the in, and then I also don't need the parenthesis, I think.
Syntax error operator expected is very helpful.
This might be unmatched on 306. Yeah, I mean, this is like OCaml. This is like an older OCaml version, so I guess it's our fault that we are not on the newest OCaml version and get the better error messages, but... Okay, so there is a warning. This pattern matching is non-exhaustive on 306. Let's see. So yeah, of course.
Yes, because we only match on the PMTI signature.
Yeah, and then we go into our Lisp and return none here. Otherwise, it's nice. Okay, and then we have line 308. What's the problem here? So we are not using items. So we put it in here. This was the whole point why we're doing this. And now we should be able to print this whole thing, and then we get... Oh, this is nice. Nice, nice, nice. This is exciting. Okay, so we have our doc module in there. We have the name in there. So we know the name of the submodule. We know the name of... We should probably also know the name of... We don't know the name of this one though. Like of the root item. So this is actually like the first element is actually a doc module item. Like this one, right?
Yeah. Yes, you're right. Yeah, I think it's gonna be critical to have the name of the root somewhere.
Yeah. So maybe we should not call it items here. We should actually make it like the first thing should be a doc module. And then, oh no, so we should probably call it root.
Yeah, something like root or...
Maybe let's call it root. So we have file name, and then we have root, and then we have root. Like kind doc type, and then... Yeah, let's do this quickly. So...
Maybe question something that I'm thinking about. If you have nested modules, like you have module foo, which contains bar, do you like need to remember the path foo.bar somehow, or?
Not really, because I can construct it myself. Because if I go into a doc module and find items, and within that items there is like how I would think about it is
like imagine that Twitch had another submodule.
Yeah, then you would probably have like in item. Let's try it. Let's just put it in there. So in there is YouTube. And this also has a type T. So subscribe to my YouTube, and then we run it. Then we have like a doc module, which is Twitch. So we would collect. We would start from root, get the name of the root, put it in some array.
Yeah.
Then we check through the items recursively. If we find a doc module, we recursively go down that tree and collect any like paths in there. And then we just need to have like root name dot twitch dot youtube dot t, and we have the name here, so we can fully qualify it, because I think this is a reliable constraint that if you have the submodule. Yeah. The question is, I was just thinking about what is public and what is private, right? But I think if there is an interface file, then it's like you take the interface
always
file.
public.
Yeah. Okay, so I think like from like if I go to the ReScript lang website, I can't believe that the VS Code was blocking my computer so hard.
It's kind of logical. If there's one bottleneck, it's gonna be VS Code.
So these are like the more complicated modules here. They have like modules in there, and they don't point to anything else. I'm not even sure what to do. Oh, okay, this is so terrible.
So you wanna, if you look at the module array buffer, you wanna have, how is that gonna be documented here? Because theoretically you might have infinite submodules, no?
No, there's not. I mean, how many submodules will there be? Probably 5. I don't think that this is like a huge problem.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, how many modules, how many submodules do you need to have to make our tool break? Probably a ton, like 100, 1,000.
Yeah, and in practice there's only gonna be like maybe one if someone goes extreme too.
And I cannot imagine that there is going to be a lot of like it's also not maintainable for humans. So we have like so promise binding, for instance, we could already print the promise binding here, because this has absolutely nothing except values, and we can print these. And we
maybe
also
another question: when are your new promise bindings gonna be upstreamed?
I need to think about it, because there was one. Okay, quick off topic. There was one issue I still want to address. I want to add a catch you function. And I'm not sure if, like, I guess we need to follow this convention. We need to continue following this convention. If we decide to drop it at some point, we can do this uniformly. So I will probably add this. And then I will consider slowly starting
to upstream.
I'm not sure. Like, I wanted to maybe do one more major upgrade here, one more major release, and deprecate the how's it called? GS error. This one. Make it obsolete, because later on people will use the GSXN thing. Because in the upstreamed version we will uncomment some logic here. Like this one. Instead of doing this with GS arrow, we will just run any to an external, and then the GS arrow will never be matched. So we need to deprecate it first. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like there were a ton of discussions later on, and then I talked to Bloody about it with like having like this kind of construct, and I wanted to go back from that because like I don't want that kind of constructs in our code. It would have been, I think it would have been, I know what he means and why this is like could be nice, but it's such a weird feature. It doesn't make any sense. Like if, yeah, I don't know. For me, like when you handle a lot of JavaScript code, you need a catch-all at some point anyways, so otherwise the code will blow up in random times. And having this kind of stuff introduces so many questions. Oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
Never mind. Like the problem was that he coerced certain promises into this internal T representation, and therefore makes assumptions that this promise will never, or this promise will always return a certain error, although there could also be a JavaScript exception at any time. And this can be misleading. Like I think like the solution we got right now is like the cleanest solution, and we should approach with this one. And then later on fine-tune promises in the compiler, because I don't know. But it's good that there is a discussion, and Bloody has been like spending a lot of time in this. Also with this like alternative JS implementation, so it's fine if you ask questions. I'm just not fond of discussing this any further. Or at least like reconsider my decisions because they are already set. Okay, so this one thing I wanted to do, and this was, so we have that is the JSON module. I upstreamed that from the editor support repo. And then we have our doc item here. And there's this toJSON function, but where do we file name? Oh, here. So we have extract signature docs, and then we return the items. And we extract doc item from signatures. Is there a way to get file, like the module name from that? Do I need to get it from the file name?
Yes, from the file name.
I need to, right?
Yes, you're probably gonna need a new function, get module from file name.
Did you do this somewhere in the syntax repo?
Huh. I don't know. Let me look for something.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We would just get the file name and then use file name dot. And then we get base name, I think. Split a file name into directory name, base file name. If name is valid file name, then concat.
But there has to be like a function in the compiler somewhere that does exactly that.
Hey Alaska. Yeah, we're working on doc generation right now. And we are pretty far already. So we already get like, if you're like having this kind of interface file here, so we have an add function here, a type T, a variant, we have a variant in there, even with annotated constructors, submodules, nested submodules, and if we run it through our code, we get like this kind of JSON out there. So it even works recursively, which is nice. And we also fixed some stuff with doc variants, which didn't get the actual signature header. Although docstring, oh yeah, this is correct. Yeah, this is fine. So yeah, I don't want to brag about it, right?
Well, we can ship it tomorrow.
We will ship it tomorrow. Big release. No, we're not going to ship tomorrow, but so we are trying to get the we're trying to get the module name from a file name. That's what we're trying to do. And I think we go to the OCaml repository. Because we are hackers. In here we find compiler libs probably. Compiler lib system. Whoa, what is that? This is not compiler libs. Do you know where it is, Maxim?
Yeah, compiler libs doesn't exist in the original source. Maybe we can start in driver. Driver is like the or parsing somewhere.
It should be the drive. What does driver even mean?
Yeah, it's a weird convention, but it's like in Node.js when you want to start the entry point of your project is like something like index.js. Well, in the OCaml compiler, it's called driver.
Okay.
The driver is like the entry point for the compiler.
Okay. I thought it would maybe be some computer scientist language. Because parse tree is also like a formal name for like the syntax representation in a tree format.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw some function for that. Module of file name. Here we look at me. Look at me. I just
Such a hacker.
try. Yeah, I'm hacker man. I knew it. It was comp env.
Compiler environment.
Yeah. So if I'm not sure if this works, but we'll try anyways. If I'm like saying name equals comp env dot module of file name in. Let's see if this compiles. Uh-oh. Now we're getting in dangerous territory. This is type string, but an expression was expected of type formatter. Line 319. Yeah, this one.
Because module of file name takes like format thing. Let's just copy paste the implementation from the compiler repository, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good idea. By the way, for everyone who's listening, copy pasting in OCaml is totally fine. Don't ask me why. It's just it's different. For some reason, it works really well. We have input file and output prefix. So what does it do? So it takes the Look at that. I mean, this is not a lot of code. We can just copy paste that. It's fine.
Yeah, let's just copy paste and remove the things we don't need.
Yeah, that's called vertical integration. Let's steal that code, rip it out. No, no attribution. I will attribute though. I will attribute that. Maybe here. Okay, so we don't want an input file and output prefix. What is an output prefix? Oh, this is like the formatter thing, right?
I don't know. It looks like the base name. It looks like the output prefix is the actual name.
Base name. Split a file name. Yeah, output prefix doesn't make any sense. We call it file name.
Yeah, let's just call it file name.
We call it file name, then we get a base name, and then we get the name, and then we get the boss index base name dot in String sub base name 0 pos while not found base name. Otherwise, okay, if there's like, I will need to try that out and see what this actually does. And then it takes the name, capitalize the name, and it's so funny. Like this is also what Cheng and you and everyone else has been talking about, or what Cheng said, like John Blow said, that every compiler, every parser suddenly makes sense when you think about it. It's just a program, right?
Yes,
It is really, this is really eye-opening. If it's just a program, it's like, this is silly code, right? And you wouldn't, like, if you think about compiler, my god, a compiler must do so many magical things and such. And no, it's just like this. This is code you would write in a business application. And
yeah,
as soon as you realize that, what is that? Check unit name.
Yeah, I think we can remove that. The line, we don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need it because it's like relying on location. And warnings, bad, module name, bad, module name. No, we don't care about that actually. We just return that. And this was also a nice demonstration of a side effect. So it's checking it, and if this is not a valid module name, it will throw, or it will not throw, it will use a singleton. Like this is like a singleton module basically with state, and they will just print error warnings in in this thing. I cannot explain what this actually does, but you can imagine it to be like a single place where all these things happen. Kind of like in Node, where Node can have like its module scope and do things in there. And this is actually very, 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 very often in OCaml. Like OCaml is built of singleton modules, if you ask me. And this makes it so hard to make it a reentrant compiler right now for us. I had to hack my way around it for the online break round actually. Because the warnings, like when you set a warning in the compiler, it's set for the whole process, so it's very hard to clear them later.
Yeah, I don't know why they just did it that way. It's very, I mean, if you start from scratch, it's very awkward to program in such a way.
Yeah.
Well, that's just my opinion, but it's awkward to deal with.
I think they had like they probably had some performance constraints, and also like it. I mean, it grew historically, so it was probably the way how you build it
back then.
Yeah, I don't even blame them. I think it's still, even though it's like a huge mess of singletons, it's still hackable. Like you can still make things work very easily, and it's also not like completely insane. I don't know, it's very hard to explain. Like if this would be Java, I would have a huge problem. Like this would be impossible to maintain. But for some reason OCaml makes it workable.
I guess the compiler itself is written in a very modular way that you can just
and also like the way how they track refs and everything is super nice. Like you know exactly, like in Node, you can, if a module exposes some mutable value, you can mutate it. But if OCaml does it, you see which values are mutable, and then you can much easier like understand what effect does it have when I set that value. And it's also easier because like since every module is unique, it's very easy to grab through your code base and find the actual usages. And like in Java, it would be you create a new instance and then track this new instance as a singleton, whatever. And it's so hard to track down where things are being like where the state lives. In OCaml, it's super nice. But still, I wouldn't design it that way anymore. Like if I would, I mean, I'm not building a compiler. I'm not clever enough, but I will probably not structure it.
Well, you are building a piece of a compiler right now.
Well, it's the front end. At some point, we should probably make some kind of like small dive into what is a compiler in like ReScript terms, just like casually like this.
Yeah,
because
I
think
also
it's super nice
I
to learn.
once started I once started like a huge blog post with what the parser actually is and how it yeah, if you don't know anything about parsing, like how the ReScript parser actually works, I started like a blog post about it, but I never finished.
I mean, it was also a very bad timing, like when we released the new syntax and reason and everything. Like this was it was not very easy to talk about the syntax at that point. So I think now is a better time to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that people know, okay, they're like we did, like Maxim and all the others who have been working on the syntax, just so you know, they had to make a lot of trade-offs, and Cristiano had also like a huge article. He already has like a huge article in his backlog about how to make sure that the syntax is not running into infinite loops and stuff like this. There's a lot of things to consider when you're building a syntax, and if you're building a language syntax, you want it to be fast and you want it to be like handwritten. Like you wouldn't use a parser generator like Menhere or something, because these kind of abstractions are limiting enough to make everything mess up, like with error messages and I don't know, like recoverable parsing. And correct me if I'm wrong, like if you want to have semicolons or no semicolons, it's very hard to implement that in Menhere.
Yeah, but in a handwritten parser, it's actually like, it's not even a problem that you have to think about. It's weird. It's when you use a parser generator, you're kind of fitting your language to the model of the parser generator. But what you want to do in reality is you want to like fit your program to your language, and it's not the other way around.
Yeah, you retrofit your language to the
yeah,
parser
that's
generator. Yeah. No, it's. I see the value. Yeah. By the way, Logan. Yeah, I will. I wanted to enable VODs today, but then I was thinking maybe it's a problem because I knew we will gonna have like sound setup issues, and then it's going to be on the VOD as well, and it's just not a very good first VOD. Yeah, I think we can do this more often. Like we can talk about like casually while we're working on this, and talk a little bit about how the parser works and stuff like this, because I think it's also very interesting. Like for me, I'm not a computer scientist. I'm not like, you know, I didn't start out with this, and nobody actually does, because like writing a compiler is such a exotic task. You don't do this that often, I think. And
I guess most of us are just writing React all day, every day.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's kind of weird. Okay, so we have items here, and I want to have one doc item here, which is root. So we go back to doc item whatever. So we make let doc item our root, which is a doc module. And this is the last thing I'm doing, and then we will close the stream because it's getting quite late. And I'm still, like, today is cocktail evening. Every Wednesday and every Friday.
Wednesday and Friday.
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's not what you think, but we usually
it's not
drink
a
a
lockdown
gin
party.
tonic.
Yeah.
After so much OCaml, I need a drink, you know. So we have
Probably
a
two.
name. Probably. So the question is, do we have docstring here? Yeah, we have docstrings. I just wonder how does this work? I will keep docstring empty now. And name, we already got name. Items. So we have items in there, and then we would yeah, doc item to JSON. Then we have root. Doc item to JSON. I always want to use like our conventions of calling a function. It makes so much more sense. I hope no OCaml enthusiast will watch that stream. They will kill us. They're already out for blood. I think this should work.
Yeah, it looks correct. It looks correct.
If it compiles, it usually works. So here we go. We have a file name, and we have a root, and then we have a name foo. Nice. Yeah, this is a nice attribute of OCaml. If it compiles it, like if you're working in a hermetic, isolated environment like parsing, where you know what the data is, it's super nice to work in OCaml. If you're doing backend development where you have like unspec'd REST endpoints, it's not fun. Because then you don't have the type safety guarantees. The only thing which is bugging me is the docstring thing. Because what we can have in our thing here is OCaml text.
Yeah, that's yeah, you're right. I'm also wondering, can you have like OCaml text in multiple places inside the root, or?
Yes, and OCaml text in OCaml doc has some special meaning, like the position of OCaml text is meaningful. If I look at, for instance,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, the section separators, right?
Yeah, I guess if we ever first class syntax for this, it's also gonna be, we're gonna have to make a decision on how to differentiate like some text versus text that's attached to some nodes.
Yeah. So my suggestion would have been, and I'm not sure if this is actually hard to do, like if we do it like this, right? Or if we do it like this. So this would be attached to the module. And this would be attached to the top level.
So if there's like a new line between, it's...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure if this is like tricky to do, or we should...
Well, it's not tricky to do. It's also, I think it's gonna be it's a rule that's also quite intuitive, because you're never gonna write some random documentation without...
Yeah, like if you do this, it should be fine. This is probably something you would do, like you would do, I don't know, here start the Twitch stuff. And that's it. And if you want to have like, okay, I want to separate it in the documentation, I would do streaming modules or something. And then it's clear, okay, here starts the streaming modules, and it will be inserted as plain verbatim text. So you can put in whatever you want. And I think that would be better, because right now, like the OCaml doc thing is formatting it always in the same way, and I think it is more versatile if you can do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's kind of the dream when you just wrote that kind of syntax is, I think, our end goal, that we have like the double asterisk thing, which start at doc comment and then just plain markdown.
Yeah.
And then at a later stage, we can also like parse the markdown and format the markdown for you with the ReScript format.
Yeah.
That's like the end goal.
If we could have like a markdown formatter in there as well, I mean, this is like super crazy complicated because you already tried this, right? You have been tinkering with this already?
I tried to like build a small parser, but if you read the markdown specification, it's incredible how much stuff is in there.
Yeah.
It's doable, but I think I would need like a couple of weeks of just focusing on just doing that and finishing.
Yeah, I mean, I would be, of course, trying to help with whatever I can contribute, but so I will commit this. Huge progress on, or wait, extract submodule items, extract root or convert root node, expose root node, and other nice goodies. Cool. Okay, so I guess I would call it a day or an evening. And thank you, Maxim, for joining in. This was fantastic. I love this format.
Yeah, it was fun. We can do it again in the future if you want. It's like...
did this actually work out like this? You watch the stream, and I mean, there's input lag, of course, but I think this works really well.
Yeah, better than the VS Code crash.
Yeah, my computer was actually like chat engine like winding up. It's fantastic. Yeah, but this is the web world we live in. Everything is built in Electron and it's slow. Anyways, so thank you everyone for joining in, and I'm probably going to stream next Sunday. I'm pretty certain about it because I need to get this done. And also for next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. CET is always the same time. Good. So have a great one, everyone, and see you next time.